You know, a very common question which I'm asked all the time is, how do I get started? What do I do if I've never taken the IELTS test and I want to get started all the way through to taking the examination? So in this video, I'm going to show you some pages from my ebook which I wrote a while back, which is a stage-by-stage guide to listening, reading, writing, speaking, right from the start, if you've never taken the IELTS test, all the way through to the examination date. So let's go behind the camera and take a look. Okay, so this is the study guide I mentioned. You can find it on my site as a free download. We don't need to read all this stuff. General strategy. Okay, so this is our starting point. Let me get my pen. So, if you haven't taken the test yet, the first thing, you need a thorough assessment. Absolutely vital. You need to find out what your current level or score is and what specific areas need to be improved. Now, even if you have taken the test before, I still recommend you have a consultation with an IELTS teacher, such as, as myself, of course, because we can look at your writing, we can hear you speak, we can get some idea of why you didn't get the score that you want and offer advice on on what needs to improve. Now, if you want to test your listening and reading yourself, you can try these links. This is from the British Council, and they've got some free practice tests. If you click on these links here, as I say, you can download these guide, or you can if you pause the recording, you can make a note of these. Okay, so I would definitely go on to these first and check your listening and reading. Or I can always, I can send you a test. I've got lots of the Cambridge examinations. I can send you a complete IELTS test. You can take it and I can tell you exactly what you would get for your listening and reading scores. Now, as for writing and speaking, obviously this is where you send me your writing tasks. I'll take a look at them. Either I can give you a task from a list of the current topics, or you can find something on the internet, or etc. And you can send it back. I'll assess it, and we can arrange a session on Skype or any other kind of platform. And I can give you a complete speaking test also. So I'll get a good idea of your listening, reading, writing and speaking abilities. So after your assessment, first thing that you need is to have a thorough and complete understanding of what the IELTS test is, how it works, how it's assessed, etc. Now this may seem an obvious point, but I still get quite a few students who are thinking of taking it out, and they have no idea what's in the test, about the different sections, different question types, etc. So this is what I recommend. 2 overviews, IELTS and the British Council. Again, take a look at these links here. And the FAQ, especially, that will answer every question about everything that you basically need to. What should I take with me on the test day? How do I apply? How does this work? How does that work? Etc. Okay. So after this, you also need to get a sense of what the current and past topics, themes, and questions are. And this is very important. Forewarned is forearmed, as the expression goes. So the more that you know about what's coming, what's the 20 common themes, education, health, transport, crime, etc. What's the different question types? The more that you know about these things, the less chance of you getting a surprise or shock when you sit down and take the exam. So there's quite a few sites. I recommend these, IELTSblog.com. You can get the recent exams. These are old sites, but the material is still viable. So you can take a look at these, etc. Now, the next thing, you need to know exactly how your scores are calculated. So again, I take a look at this site, IELTS-ERC.EnglishLab.net and score converter. And then
You need to understand exactly what the criteria are for writing and speaking. Again, this is very important. I still get many students who, contact me and they've got no idea what the examiners want. They haven't looked at the criteria table. In every book, on all the official websites, you will find the criteria tables that lay out exactly what you need to do for listening, writing, speaking, etc. You can download your own version from British Council sites. You can find them on YouTube here also, and they're fully explained. It's basically these tables here. Now, there's a different table for task 1 and 2, and 1 for speaking, and it basically goes through the 4 criteria upon which you'll be examined according to what you have to show the examiner for each band score. So for writing and speaking, again, you've got your 4 criteria, your band scores here, and what it is you have to do, say, write, use in order to get the score. So I recommend that. Now, the next stage, you need to set yourself some kind of time limit, a frame. It's not a secret, really, that successful examination takers, whichever exam they are taking, indeed anybody who's successful in learning a skill, have a regular and consistent timetable of study or practice. Every day they do listening, then they do reading, writing, etc. So you have to be realistic. This is the key word here. I mentioned this in several videos. The reason why I say this is that I get students with my favourite expression or collocation, unrealistic expectations. They have no time. They're taking the test in days, days, or weeks, if we're lucky in months. They've got no study plan, no idea, and they got 5.5, they're taking the test in a week, they want a 7. I have to tell them it's not happening. This is completely unrealistic. So you have to set yourself a realistic time frame or period. So for most people, as a general rule, obviously many exceptions, if you want to increase your band score by 0.5, it can take around 200 hours of study and practice. So if you've got 5.5 and you want to get a 7, then you're looking at 500 to 600 hours. In other words, a month or 2, probably 3 months, maybe more. If you think you can do that in a week or 2, or in a month, then good luck. But it's not happening. So this is why you have to decide what time you have available, get yourself assessed, work out a realistic program of study in consultation with a teacher, such as me, and then you're all set to go. Now, step 4, you need a plan. So, as I said, it's not a secret, regular, consistent practice. This is what you need if you want to learn to play the guitar or drive a car or be a good baker or be a good language user. You have to put in the hours. It's not a secret. It's that simple. Okay, so here's a sample table. So again, you have to work out your available time, what you can spare, but this is just an example. So once you've been assessed, you know what your weak points are, what you need to prioritize. You can do something like, lots of my learners make use of their time commuting into work. So they listen to some podcasts, or they do some reading on the way to work, or listen to some more podcasts, listen to some audio books. At the weekend, maybe do some online testing, etc. Lunchtime, do some reading about the topics, general reading, etc. Evenings, afternoon, when you're going home again from work, use that time, listen to audiobooks and podcasts, etc. Evenings, online lessons with your teacher, meaning me, get some study practice, you know, reading practice. So this is just a sample of how it can work. Obviously, you know your time better than I. So you have to decide how you can fit in the different things. So that is basically it. And in future videos, we'll move on to the strategies for the particular skills. But this is the strategy in general terms, okay? So we'll just have a quick recap. So first, thorough assessment, whether by me or do it yourself. Understand how the test works. Go onto the websites, go to the British Council, IELTS, find out how it works. Find out, you know, what the FAQs are. Find out what the topics are. Understand how everything works. How do the scores work? Look at the criteria. Make sure that you understand everything about the exam. Then, be realistic. How much time do you have? What score do you need? What's your previous English ability? Okay? And then, create a plan. Either do it yourself, or you can ask me, contact me. We can prioritize what's your weak points, etc. Okay? So, that is basically it.
So, I hope that was useful. If you've got any questions, of course, you can send me a mail at any time. The address for the website and my email will be in the box below. So, in future videos, I will outline the strategy for listening, reading. Obviously, I've got lots of videos on writing, and in future, the speaking section. So, any questions, send me a message to the email address in the box.